I have love for this man because I listened to him for years living in Staten Island. So I'm technically Rich from Staten Island, saying hello to the man who is basically, along with Francesa, the man who helped create this medium the way that we talk about it today. And now he is the host of Mad Dog Radio on Sirius and XM, as well as High Heat on MLB Network every single day. He is Christopher Russo. Good to see you, Chris.
Richard, a pleasure, pal. How you doing? Okay?
I'm good. Now, I don't mean to date anybody here, but I remember driving around on my job with the Staten Island Advance. And it's true. The Staten Island Advance
That's
back
20
in
years
Staten
ago,
Island.
right? 25 years ago?
We'll date it in a second here. You and Francesa broke the news to me that Magic Johnson
1991.
had the HIV virus.
4 o'clock.
I remember that driving
That was
around.
a huge show. I don't
remember
know what day it was. Monday, maybe? It was the weekday, obviously.
I remember exactly where I was. I was behind the wheel of the car, driving from one event to another, covering something for the Staten Island Advance. I pulled over. I pulled my car over.
You know, think about the change of what it would be today. There would not be a big deal. There was an announcement that Magic's going to have a press conference, later this afternoon.
Yeah.
And today that happens, you're going to find out in 10 seconds what the announcement is.
Exactly.
In those days, you ought to go to some place to hear what the announcement was, and Magic takes the podium and says, I'm going to retire effective immediately, which in nowadays you wouldn't have to do. But then nobody knew that much about it.
Right.
Because I've contacted the HIV virus. That was a dramatic show.
I remember that. I remember you're the one who broke that news with Francesa, and man, oh man, so that's
91.
5 years.
I think it was 91.
6 years ago.
Yeah, it was the fall of 91, if I'm not mistaken.
When did you first hit radio?
80 with Mike in September of 89. So 2 years before that. So you were bouncing around 91, that's 6, 17, 25 years ago. You were about, what, 10 years old? What were you doing?
No. No, I was like 20. I just graduated Michigan. So I was 22 years old.
And you were back in Staten Island, writing for the Staten Island.
Yes,
oh my
the advance, as they say in Staten Island. They put the syllable, they put the accent on the first syllable.
Now, how long were you writing for the advance?
For the advance for 3 years.
And then you went right to ESPN from there?
No, I went to Northwestern to go to graduate school to get a tape, to get a television tape.
So you were in New York. You were in the early '90s. Your home base was New York City.
Staten Island.
That's
exactly. That's where I grew up.
I knew you grew up there. I didn't realize you were there after you went to college.
And I called into Steve Summers overnight.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah. And I taped it, and I popped the tape in to play and record.
You were a groupie.
I was Rich from Staten Island. I was Rich from Staten Island.
And now you look like Cary Grant with the little promo there, North by Northwest.
Running.
Cary Grant with the plane over top. That reminds me of that.
I'm running without the crop duster behind me.
Yeah, that's one of the great scenes. I think it's 57. One of the great scenes in the history of the movies.
Well, that's me running my 40-yard dash every year because I know you're a big combine watcher.
Oh God, almighty, those combines.
Come on now, you don't watch the combine?
I've been a little bit more wrapped up in it in the last whatever it might be, but I don't watch it pinpoint like you might have to do.
Well, I mean, I'm physically there. I have to physically be there.
That is hard to believe that you are there for the whole week, right?
The whole week.
Oh my God!
But it's good prep for the draft because pretty much every kid for the first 95% of the first 3 rounds of a draft on average goes to the combine. So I have seen the names that are announced over the first 3 rounds.
So you're familiar with it come draft day?
Well, best I can, and the ones that I'm not, Mayock's there to catch catch everything.
And I did hear the Mayock thing off the air. That got a lot of publicity.
No, it wasn't off the air. Now, okay, let's get in this. I got Chris Russo here. You're talking about the orangutan?
Yeah, is that what it was? Yes.
Yes, because the Indianapolis Colts decided to have an orangutan announce the picks by pressing a touchscreen. And we were trying to talk about the Jets quarterback situation because here we are in the 4th round of a draft.
They haven't taken a quarterback yet. Who knows?
They've passed on every quarterback not named. Let's figure it out. It wasn't named Kaiser, Webb, and C.J. Beathard got picked, and obviously they were the 3 in the first round. And here we are in the 4th round. We're trying to talk about it, but every time we're going back to the Indianapolis Zoo because it's time to show the orangutan touching the touchscreen. And Mayock said, if we go back, he said this on the air. It wasn't off the air. He said on the air. If we go back to the zoo one more time, I'm walking out of here.
Was he serious?
He was, but he didn't walk out. But,
okay, so he was a little serious.
It was rough.
Yeah, that got some publicity. Go ahead.
So what do you think of the Jets quarterback situation?
I think the Jet quarterback situation is a very tricky spot. I do think they made the right pick with the kid from Adams from LSU. They had to take him, sort of like Leonard Williams a couple years before that.
It dropped in.
Yeah, it dropped in your lap. You got to take that pick. Right. Listen, if you have Hackenberg there, I know that he didn't do much this first year, couldn't get on the field, but you just draft him in the 2nd round. Let's forget Petty. But if you have Hackenberg sitting there, don't you think you have to see what you have before you go out there and draft another quarterback? So I understand what the Jets were doing that. I don't like what the Bears did.
Right.
But I do understand what the Jets did in that situation. Hackenberg probably is not going to be great, but you did use a second-round pick. You're not going anywhere in 2017 anyway.
Right.
Why not see what you have? And then down the road, there's going to be other quarterbacks who come out. The kid from Wyoming supposed to be great, right?
Supposed to be incredible.
And then we all know Donald's great.
And so is Josh Rosen.
And Rosen from UCLA. So they might get lucky down the road to get a QB.
So now we got Chris Law, my bearded friend over there. He's a Penn Stater, okay? We have made this, because he's created this list of people who have hated on Hackenberg, of which I am the charter member.
Yeah, members of the national media that have doubted.
Hackenberg. And he wasn't great in college, so I can understand that. Overrated.
Fantastic. Okay, so we have a wager. What comes first? Tom Brady wins his 6th ring, or Hackenberg starts a game in the NFL?
Well, you got to figure Hackenberg's going to start a game this year.
You have to figure that, but you wouldn't.
So I got to take Hackenberg.
So then let's put it this way: who do you start week 1? You go McCown, or do you go Hackenberg, or
I
do you
think
go
they
Petty?
will start McCown in week 1.
I think so too.
Because I think that they don't want to tell their veterans that the season's a lost cause with a young quarterback. They want them to be a little more motivated. So I think that you will see McCown in their first 3 or 4 games of the year. See what they have as a team.
Right.
Maybe they surprise you, go 3-1, and go from there.
Plus, don't you think that the coach is going to have to win some football games before his owner goes off to run the ambassadorship?
I'm shocked they brought Bowles back. I think Bowles is. I know it's only 2 years. He got out-coached by Rex Ryan in week 17 of year 1. His clock management's terrible. He's not great with the media. I tell you, I thought that was listen, I understand they don't want to cut ties this quickly, 2 years. The GM stays, he leaves. Is that fair?
Yeah.
But I tell you, I'm not in love with him. So if I'm a Jet fan, he makes me nervous. And you're right. If you play Hackenberg, you're almost giving him carte blanche. That's not fair.
Right.
He gets another year.
Okay.
So, and I don't know if that's to the betterment of the franchise.
So then the other wager we have. Go ahead, tell them what the other wager is that we have involving Hackenberg Law. Go for it.
So they're building a new stadium out in Los Angeles, as you know, and ground has broke. The other part of the bet is that the club level of what will happen first. Hackenberg starts a game, or the club level of the new Rams stadium is built. If I lose this bet, which I took Hackenberg, obviously, because I believe in him, unlike this entire city that we're in.
Right.
I have to streak naked through the.
But your head will already have been shaved from the other
with a
bet.
shaved head, yeah.
With Tom Brady.
Oh, my God.
Not good.
Yeah, shaved head
You
and
put
streaking.
a lot of juice with Mr. Hackenberg. Oh, my goodness.
When you're the proprietor of the list, you got to follow through.
I understand. You're a believer in it. You might be, I don't know, when's the club supposed to be built?
There are pylons in the ground right now.
Yeah.
2019, the stadium
I
opens.
know that,
I
but they're
believe
going to have the club done before that,
They're
right?
moving dirt around.
I'm essentially betting on him starting a game this year.
And I think that's a fair bet.
Actually, there's a live shot right there on the television screen,
look at
Chris.
that.
What do you think?
Look
The
at that.
scaffolding. That is a lot. That is live.
That
is where you're
how
sitting
about
here
that?
in New
And
York.
how about the Charger place?
Now, can I give you a
Everybody
little?
says it's going to be cute
Let
and
me
cozy.
tell you, it's not going to be cute, and it's not going to be cozy. Here's the other thing it's going to be. It could be like a Cameron Indoor of the NFL. Or you know how the grandstands at the U.S. Open, because I know you're a tennis guy. You know how it's one of those where it's just packed in, and it can get really intense in a way that the Arthur Ashe is. You sit back and you're in a movie
If they have
theater.
enough fans in L.A.
There
who
will
care
be.
enough.
There's only like 28,000 seats.
I know that, but still, it's the second team in. You think that many people are going to be that wrapped up in them?
I'm telling you that don't sleep on the Chargers' home situation in Los Angeles.
Very interesting. Okay.
Giving you a little bit of a nugget.
I like that nugget. And they play, and they open up on the road, then they have 3 straight home games.
Take that on Unleashed.
And they cannot play a Monday or a Thursday night because of the college campus that it's on.
Right.
Howard Katz gave me that. How about that? It's not bad, right? Not bad. What's so funny?
Howard Katz gave you that one?
Yeah, he gave me a good one.
He gave you nuggets from the NFL?
Oh, very much of the schedule, and not pleased that they had the Giant Dallas game for the 3rd year in a row. He said that's one of the things I wish we didn't have to do.
Why?
They played out. That's a little played out. Giants Cowboys game 1 in Dallas every year. That's a little played out. Even you'd agree. That's a little played out.
I know that, but it's great theater every single time.
I know, but geez, wouldn't you want to
Switch it
have
up.
that game a little later in? I thought that's
Switch it up.
I think that's a little. But he did tell me about that. And the Rams can't have a Monday night game either, or a Thursday night game because they're in the campus of USC.
Which do you like less? Giants, Cowboys in Dallas to start the year in week 1
Or
for the
Chiefs?
third straight year? No. Or the fact that the NFL puts a big show on to announce the schedule release. Which one do you like less?
The Giants. I love the schedule stuff.
You
So
do?
Giants, I love it. I love that.
You do.
I'm totally into that.
Have you bought into it?
I watch it. I mean, I don't like
Okay.
the fact. You know, I tell you, a lot of the schedule gets leaked before 8 o'clock
Tell
at
me
night.
about it. Well,
that's a major problem.
It's because Francesa
Oh,
gets
the
it every
whole
year.
Giants.
By the way, there's 2 tradition unlike any other in sports. 1 is the Masters. 2 is Francesa gets the Giants schedule before everybody else.
He leaked everything.
Every year.
Everything.
We look at each other at the NFL Network. First year that we're putting this on the air to try and make a show out of it. We're looking around. It's just like, how the hell did Francesa get that thing?
He got that. Well, somebody.
It's every year.
Giants. Somebody. I get. But that he had. But we did a lot on that. Cats had him on 2 weeks ago. He couldn't come on Friday, but he gives me everything. He did a great job. You know, doesn't give me any nuggets, but thing has been done.
Yeah.
Told me about the the 2 games on Sunday that the Raiders asked to play in Buffalo and Miami in back-to-back weeks, so they have to go back to the West Coast.
Sure. That's good stuff.
It was good.
Good nuggets. I've got a few minutes left with Chris Russo before we send him off to MLB Network to do High Heat, and then your show every single day. 3 hours you doing it?
3 hours, 3 to 6.
Okay, 3 to 6 here on the East Coast on Sirius XM radio. What do you make of Harvey, Matt Harvey? And I very rarely ask this in a way like this, but I'll do it with you because I'd like you to finish the sentence. Matt Harvey is blank. What?
He's a diva. Let's start with that. He's a prima donna. That's number 2. And he's not as good as he thinks he is. I mean, first off, why is he playing golf the day before his start in the early part of the season? I mean, playing golf, you can tweak something, back. I mean, there's a million things. I know the old days with the Braves, with the starting pitchers on the road, they played a lot of golf. That surprised, plus it's cold. That surprised me, number 1. And then he has a migraine, doesn't feel he has to call them, tell the Mets what's going on. How about if you decided one day, you know what, I'm not going to come to work, I don't feel good, and you don't call your guys here doing this TV show.
Right.
You can't do that. He's good. The Mets have had a brutal stretch because you had Syndergaard who refuses the MRI, blows off the media, picks on Horwich. You got Cespedes who hurts his hamstring twice. Who knows when we're going to see him again.
Yeah.
They've underachieved. And then you now have Harvey, who's suspended for 3 days, misses a start. They got to call the guy from Albuquerque. He flies to L.A., comes back to New York, gets lit up by Stanton, and they get buried by the Marlins yesterday. They can't get anything going, and Washington's 21-9. It is a terrible break for the Mets. I tell you, Harvey will not be a Met long term.
You don't think so?
No, definitely not. Yeah, I know his contract's up after 2018. You can't trade him now, but they are not going to put up with Harvey. They get the year out of him. They will trade him in the off year.
Someone will take him.
I would think they would, but it's Boris is the agent, and he's a free agent after next season. So you're only going to get him for 1 year. But I don't think Harvey next year. I'll make a prediction right now. Next year, I don't think Matt Harvey's a Met.
Mets or Knicks? What's the worst organization in this town?
Well, I got to say the Knicks because the Mets got to the World Series 2 years ago.
Correct.
Why are we leaving out the Jets? Why are we leaving out the Jets?
You can put the Jets in there
All right,
too.
so which one? Knicks? Well, I mean, the Mets are kind of a little screwy.
Oh, the Jets have been real
But
stable
you're
the
right.
last
They have
few
been in the World
years.
Series.
Yeah.
So Jets or Knicks?
Well, the Jets 2 years ago at 10-5,
Knicks
10
are
and 6.
terrible.
The Knicks are such a mess, and they're not media savvy. Jackson's aloof. The Anthony mess. They do have a high pick, but the Knicks are. And in the NBA, you got to have a great player. They don't have a great player. Plus, you got LeBron in the same conference. The Knicks are a mess. I've made the playoffs forever.
But Dolan's playing his harmonica on the road.
He plays
that band,
with that rock
JD and the
band.
Straight Shots?
Can
you
JD
tell
and
me
the Straight Shots.
where are they right now?
Stand by.
Can you let me know where are JD and the Straight Shots? Is the Cavs? By the way, did you hear this? I follow Isola on Twitter of the Daily News.
Does a
Frank
great
Isola,
job
I
with
love
it.
him. He pointed out that going back to last year's finals, the Cavs have won 11 straight playoff games. The Knicks have only won 9 in the last 10 years.
Unbelievable. They won the last 3 from Cleveland and won the first 8 here. It tells you the NBA playoffs has been useless to start here. Cleveland Golden State would be a good final, but they are so much better than the other teams. And Cleveland, who made a mockery of not trying in the regular season, and now they're blown away. They blew Toronto away. They're going to kill the Celtics or the Wizards, and then we're going to see them against the Cavs. And Cavs are going to be a huge favorite, but I wouldn't sleep on the Cavs. I mean, the Warriors are going to be a huge favorite, but I would not sleep on the Cavs.
Yeah, I agree with you.
No pressure on them, and they got the best player on the court. And Durant's going to have a lot of pressure on him. I would not sleep on Cleveland in the NBA final.
Where's James Dolan?
JD, taking a little break. Back on tour June 6th in Boston, Massachusetts with Don Henley.
No kidding.
Don Henley.
Yeah. I think he's opening for Don Henley.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's not like
Well, he loves the Eagles, so there you go. No, that's Henley is.
Yeah,
Henley's
Eagles.
Eagles.
Right.
Henley's
Glenn
Eagles.
Fry. I was thinking of Glenn Fry, who passed away.
So a couple more minutes with you before I let you go here. What do you think? Because your voice is so, certainly for us in New York and now nationally, your voice is so distinct. What do you think of the Sour Shoes imitation?
Oh, I love him.
On Stern.
He does a great job. He comes on with me, too. Now, he doesn't do me with Sour Shoes. He does the Susan Waldman, the John Sterlings. He is great. But I know his act because I can figure out in 10 seconds who
So
it is.
he'll call you. He'll just call
change
in, right?
his name, but listen, I've known him for a long time. He does a tremendous job.
You have met him in person?
Oh, yes, I sure have. We did a sound-alike contest about 4 or 5 years ago, and he showed up with his little organ and everything
Could you tell
else.
the difference?
Yeah, you could tell. I mean, I could tell. But that's flattering. The guy's been doing it forever. That is absolutely flattering. I haven't heard him with Stern recently, and he has these gaps when he's on with Stern constantly, and then he's not on for a month.
Right.
So you don't know exactly, he kind of sneaks in. You don't know when he's on. When I'm going to get the next appearance out of him.
Right.
But he is good at it. He does a good job.
And are you and Francesa getting back together?
Well, it's fueled this. This documentary is coming
30
out.
for 30 in
it's
July.
you haven't seen it.
I have not seen it.
Oh, God, it's good.
No, my
They did a good job
My
with it.
advance copy privileges have been revoked
I did
by ESPN.
Oh, I
about
did.
14 years ago. They got revoked advance copy
I didn't get an advance copy either. I went to the premiere.
I know, and you sat there.
They did a very. That was the first time I had seen it.
Okay.
They captured us. They did a. I think if you like Mike and the Mad Dog and like FAN, and the sports talk theme, I don't see how you can't like it. And listen, with Mike, you never say no. There's a lot of hula hoops you got to jump through and everything else. But we had that chemistry for such a long period of time, and we've done a lot of things together recently.
Right.
We did the Radio City thing.
Yeah.
We did the Super Bowl.
Radio Row.
Radio Row, and he came on this year for an hour. Were you on this year?
I was on with
Okay,
it was
I was
memorable.
trying to think of that. What day was it?
No, it was me and the young man from St. Jude.
That's
we
correct.
Came on together.
Yeah, we did that. And he was the big talk show guy, the
was?
young kid.
I know,
Yes.
yeah.
Was his first Jason?
From New Mexico.
Yeah, good kid.
Yeah.
So we did that, and now we have this. So everybody wants to hear these Mike and the Mad Dog shows again. That's what this thing is fueled from.
So I know.
They get enough of it. They can't get enough of it.
But he said he's got something special coming up, that he's going to leave WFAN, and he's got something, and everybody thinks it's the two of you getting back together.
I don't think Mike knows, because if that is the case, I have not been informed yet.
Okay.
So, but I think Mike will work. I don't think Mike's going to quit.
course.
He's got young kids who wants to go home with 3 young kids every day, driving you crazy. I got 4 of them. Why do you think I'm working? Why do you think I'm here this morning? Get out of the house at 8 o'clock.
I hope he's still on, because first of all, he's the Pope, he's Francesa, and lastly, who's going to leak the Giants' schedule if he doesn't have a job?
I would be annoyed by that. ESPN and you guys get buried by that scenario.
Every year. It's not every other year. It's every year.
I want to know about your schedule. This show every day, 9 a.m. local time out in L.A.
Yes, every day.
5 days a week?
Yes.
5 days a week.
Yes.
And you have to commute. You get there at 7:30. This is an unbelievable setup you have.
Yeah, here in New York, it's great.
For
Our
the 3
spot
days.
in Los Angeles
And maybe
is
you
great.
win all these Emmys. You're getting
Let's hope.
nominated for them.
That's why we're here in town.
And then you do the NFL show, too.
Yes.
And that
Thursday nights, Sundays, draft, combine,
Do you have
Hall
some
of
time
Fame.
off of the NFL in the middle of the offseason?
My next gig for the NFL right now scheduled is the Hall of Fame in August. So, yeah.
Oh, you got a nice little break.
Yeah, from the NFL. That's
But
why I
then
love
once
doing this.
once preseason begins or regular season?
Once regular season begins, it's on.
So that Thursday night game, New England, then you're on basically every day.
I am on.
That's a tough stretch.
And I got 3 little kids at home.
They're hard. Those kids are hard.
I know, Daddy, don't get on the plane.
You know what it is? The kids are my weekend begin. You know when my weekend begins? Mondays at 8 o'clock in the morning. I was in a gym all weekend watching AAU basketball with a 15-year-old. Turn the ball over, driving me crazy.
How are you with the refs?
I used to. My other one went through it too. He's older.
Yeah.
I used to be bad, driving crazy. I've gotten over.
Are you
it.
kidding me?
What are you doing here? Don't call a foul on number 3. I didn't come 3,000 miles to UC blow whistles. So I said that stuff all the time. I'm a little better at it than I used to be.
You're the best, Chris.
I love you, Rich.
Love
Thanks
you
for
too.
having me.
That's Chris
Keep it
from
going.
Mag Dog Russo, 3 to 6 every day on Sirius XM, and then, of course, High Heat every weekday on MD Network. And then the Mike and the Mad Dog 30 for 30 airs July 13th at 8 Eastern. That'll be great. Chris Russo here, Damon John still to come here on The Rich Eisen Show.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.
If you like that, please download our app. There's lots of fun things there other than just more of the videos you just saw. You can call us from the app. You can email us from the app. Just download it. Trust me, you'll enjoy it.